Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this on-remote episode of the Man Cave Podcast, brought to you by Hy-Vee, Toys and Ford. We are over at the Elbow Room for our first Draft with a Draft podcast series. Like what I did there?
I love a draft with a draft. That is beautiful.
Draft, yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How you doing, El Capitano?
Not too bad, man. Appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to stop over.
Always time for the captain, my brother.
Yeah, stop it. So perfect timing too, because right before right before I left the office, Green Bay got a brand new kicker to come in.
They certainly did, Mr. Joseph. We're finally taking a Viking retread. Usually it's them taking ours.
Right, exactly. So I honestly don't think that's going to be I don't think it'll, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think it'll be Anders all of a sudden released anytime soon. I think it's going to be a legit training camp kicking battle.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I think you can't teach a 60-yard leg. I mean, Carlson's got a boot, man. But
right.
Can he get accurate?
Yeah, that's the thing is like...
This might be sticky. I did not wipe anything off.
No worries. No, I just think it's going to be... they're going to go to camp. They're going to have that training camp battle. They're going to have a kicking competition. I do think, though, the timing of it is interesting to bring in a veteran kicker like Greg Joseph because of the new kicking rules, which I think, kickoffs, you're going to need a kicker that is going to have to be a little bit more accurate from that landing zone, that goal line to the 20-yard line, which is the red zone on offense, but, now they're calling it the landing zone. So, I mean, if you don't want to always kick it out of the back of the end zone and start, at the 30, 40, wherever the hell it's going to be, you're going to need that veteran kicker or a kicker who's a little bit more accurate in there. It's kind of like a golf shot now, a little bit. Putting it on the back green with some spin.
Yeah. Pull out that
wedge shot,
that
right?
Wedge and draw it home.
Exactly.
Yeah, that kicking rule, I mean, maybe I'm just an old man. I'm not really a huge fan of it yet, but, time will tell. Like I was saying earlier, in 10 years it'll seem normal. But
right.
It's really a big change, but should add some more excitement and makes that re-signing of Nixon look a lot better.
That's what, I'm just glad that the return game is back.
Yes.
The Super Bowl, we didn't have any returns. Nixon got all-pro without getting a return touchdown because he had the most yards.
He's the only one that would return it.
Yeah, exactly. If we're going to this is the year Devin Hester got in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. If Devin Hester's going in because he's a returner, he's not going in because of his defensive play or the hot minute he played offense. I mean, if we're going to put returners in the Hall of Fame, we got to have the return game involved in this thing. So that's where I'm glad. Is it a little gimmicky? I think it is, but it's not going to go back to what it was 10, 15, 20 years ago or whatever.
No, I mean,
the wedge plays are long gone.
Long gone. I mean, there's guys that made their career by busting themselves up to break those wedges, and those guys are no longer, and making the game more safe, so I get it.
Right, exactly. So, I miss the days of a Dante Hall, as we mentioned, Devin Hester, Eric Metcalf, Brian Mitchell, those guys.
Desmond Howard even.
Desmond Howard for Super Bowl 31, absolutely. So I'm glad to see that come. I was a little surprised to see Green Bay voted against it, considering Matt LaFleur said he was in favor of it. And then, you have Keyshawn Nixon. I haven't seen Mark Murphy's reason why he voted no yet, but that did kind of surprise me a little bit.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it was Packers, 49ers, Raiders voted against it. The only three.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Especially considering they just re-signed Nixon. And it wasn't because, strictly his nickel corner abilities.
Right, exactly. So, that was kind of interesting. But anyways, I think, we're finally going to get that battle that I think a lot of us wanted in training camp last year, where they didn't bring in a veteran for Anders to go up against. So, and I don't think Joseph got any guarantee that he's going to make the team either. It's only a $1.3 million deal.
Yeah, and you know what? A kicker's not a problem until you need one.
Yeah.
So, and, let's look back no further than the San Francisco game in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Make a couple kicks and poof, we're in the NFC Championship game. So
for what it's worth, Hudson does think that Anders is the worst Packer player right now. He does think he's the worst one. So
I love it.
I can't wait to tell him when he comes and or I got to pick him up from spring training.
Wait, 2 of them, please.
Or, what did I say? I got to pick him up for spring training. Spring break.
Spring break.
Yeah, later
Yes.
on today. Yeah, he's at spring training too. So getting ready for Little League. But
That a boy.
nonetheless, he's going to be, I think, probably a little excited. But then he's going to be like, well, he's a Viking player, so he's going to automatically think he stinks anyways.
Right.
So, but
Well,
we'll see.
we'll see.
We got competition.
Once he puts on the green and gold, I think his
He's going to want a card now. That's the thing. He's got to get a card of these players.
that's perfect.
But
I love that he's getting into those cards too, by the way.
dude, he's got 2, 3, 4 huge ass binders of just So I had to order him. He wants a Von Miller.
Thank you.
He wants a Von Miller. I had to order him a Harrison Butker card
Ooh,
and a Tommy Townsend card.
you know what? I've got a Harrison Butker card autographed
Ooh.
that I got from Jordan Hagedorn.
Yeah.
That I could
He's just like,
give you to give to Hudson.
and it was the weird timing was like, so he put, before free agency started, he took out all his football cards and he's like, I'm going to put the top 2 in the league for each position. And it's Hudson. So, I mean, but quarterback, he had Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson.
Good choices.
He's a huge Derrick Henry fan. So he had Derrick Henry, but he had Josh Jacobs. And this was before Green Bay hired or
Atta
signed
boy.
him. Yeah. So that day, and I'm like, oh, Hudson, I'm going to pick him up from school. And like, first of all, he's going to be pissed about Aaron Jones.
Yep.
But I'm like, but he just put that card out about Josh Jacobs being a top 2. So he's pumped about that. But then his response was, well, why didn't they sign Derrick Henry, though? So,
It's because they brought back Mr. Dillon, who he was a little fired up about.
So that day, too, I purposely avoided telling him that probably not going to be back. His mom apparently told him.
Oh, no.
So it was that day. I picked him up, and the Dillon news came later that night or early evening. And we were playing basketball, and he's like, Mom said A.J. Dillon's not back. I'm like, damn it, Veronica, you know. And I said, well, probably not. And he just meltdown. Like, he was pissed. And I was like, Veronica, why'd you tell him? And she's like, well, I thought it was official. I'm like, it's not official. And I was holding out until it was official.
This is so awesome. What is
And
he,
then-
6?
Yeah.
Oh, this
and then
is great.
literally 2 hours later, we're coming back because we picked up Culver's for dinner. And I'm scrolling through my phone because Veronica was driving. A.J. Dillon re-signed. I'm like, oh, yes. Perfect.
Yeah, I
So-
saw your video. He was pretty stoked. That was awesome.
Yep. So it was like that same day, he went through just being absolutely pissed to most excited 6-year-old A.J. Dillon fan out there. So
It's like Dad on the old softball field.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely pissed to being the happiest guy on the field. All in one day.
okay, before we get to draft stuff, I gotta get because it's on the TV here. Is Ohtani lying?
Ohtani isn't gambling.
You don't think? Okay, then he's like one of the dumbest people in the world.
Well, he's not. He's probably not the brightest bulb in the pack, but I mean,
Like Andrew
like he's
Brandt-
not making enough money.
Well, right. But like Andrew Brandt said then, he's got the worst best friend, he's got the worst interpreter, he's got the worst manager, he's got the worst agent, he's got the worst bank.
He's got the worst fantasy owner because I took him first in a dynasty league, and now I'm screwed. If they Pete Rose his ass, I'm going to be mad.
Well, and it's like, I saw somebody too, I don't bet, I don't even do the app stuff, but like somebody said, no bookie is taking all that money without knowing where it's coming from. You know, from
Right.
some random person.
Yep.
Like having a co-signer, I'm assuming, right? So, I mean, I think there's more to it. There's more questions than anything.
You know, and here's another question I got. And then, I don't know. I'm just asking. You know, if you go overseas, do they bet on their own games? And it's no big deal. Kind of like Mike Vick with the Dogs back in the day. You know, everybody knew it was wrong, but in his culture and where he was living, it was no big deal to him. Even though it should have been, but I mean, he wasn't raised that way. So is Ohtani a victim of that a little bit? Do we know? any
Maybe.
of that?
I don't know what it's like in Japan or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. But this is a situation now where regardless of the outcome, it's not, people are going to be like, he got let off because he's a world star and all that.
Right.
And if he doesn't, then you got people that are going to bitch about that because he is a world star and you can't do that sort of thing. So it's, either way, this is not what you want 2 days before opening day.
And
Or
how
even
do you,
during the
how do you
series.
not notice $4.5 million wired out of your bank account to a bookie directly.
That's what I'm getting at, man.
mean-
You know,
I don't know. I don't think he would be dumb enough to bet on. Maybe that's just.
I don't think he bet. I think he knew his guy was doing it because you first of all, you're allowing ESPN was interviewed the interpreter, like they found out, and they did an interview saying, and the guy's like, yeah, Ohtani was helping me out with my debt and all that. I think they thought, hey, it's okay. He's not betting, but he's helping his buddy pay his fine. Then they realized, oh shit, we still can't do this.
Yeah.
So they're backtracking. That's what I feel like. Is like, I don't think Ohtani bet, but I think he helped and he realized, crap, I shouldn't have done that.
It'll be interesting to see what happens because this isn't like Pete Rose on the back nine of his career and they ban him and it's a big issue. Now MLB has taken, this is like one of their stars, the faces of the whole league.
Right, exactly. World superstar.
Right. And are they going to ban him now? Suspend him?
I don't know, man. I don't feel like he's going to get suspended, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's I don't think they'll ban him. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of suspension. Since he didn't bet, but he helped, I think there's going to be that loophole.
Sons of bitches.
Yeah. All right, let's, since we're now enjoying some Man Cave Light over here, should we talk some draft?
Absolutely.
We're recording this about a month from day 2 of the draft, because we're officially under a month now from the first round of the draft here. So, in terms of Green Bay, I got to be honest with you. I've played around with the mock drafts online. Everybody's kind of done their simulators and all that.
Look at you talking like you casually played with. You've been mock drafting into the point where you're pissing yourself off, you're sweating. I know how you work.
I'm not doing that. It's just I'm uberly confused because I feel like this is a year where I have no idea where the hell they go in the first round. Whereas in years prior, it's like, okay, yeah, I think they need a corner. Or, no, they need to finally freaking draft a wide receiver. Like, this year, I'm just like not that. I'm confused on where they go, and I guess that's also kind of a good thing at one point too, because they do have I feel like they need offensive line, but at the same time, they got a lot of guys that played last year that logged some snaps. The big question to me is is Walker going to be the long-term left tackle? If they think he is, then you roll with that. In my opinion, you roll with that.
Yep.
Do you draft a guard in the first round? Is that worthy of a first-round pick? Sean Ryan was a day 2 pick. Are you willing to give him an opportunity? There's so many ways I could see this going. I don't know if I'm sold on getting a corner in the first round either.
Yeah, I don't know. I think first off, there's not a huge hole in the roster, which helps. So I think I bet they've got a couple guys on their board that they're willing to take at that spot because I think we're going to have to see how the first round plays out to them. In my eyes, the top 3 that they're looking at would be offensive line, linebacker, and safety. And the McKinney, I love that signing, so that helps with the safety pick. But they lost Yash, they lost Runyon, Bakhtiari's gone, so their depth at the line is gone. Sean Ryan didn't have any starts last year. So they're going to have to rebuild that depth.
Yep.
One guy that I kind of like that might fall to them is J.C. Latham from Alabama.
Yep.
Because he's an offensive tackle, but he's a big-bodied guy that can play guard. So, and you know how the Packers like their versatility on the offensive line. So I think if he's available, I wouldn't mind that pick. But yeah, like you, I have no clue. They need this position to be drafted. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, I can see. I think the big thing here is Jeff Hafley, new defensive coordinator. He's got the defensive background. The question, I think, if you go corner in the first round, is he sold on Eric Stokes? Is he sold at Carrington Valentine? Regardless, he was a 7th round pick, but he got a lot of snaps last year. Is he a guy, or those guys that can play in your system? Because if Hafley wants to be press man, up at the line, does he feel like Stokes and those guys can do it? Jair's there. We know that. Jair's
locked
there.
Down.
Nixon's going to get an opportunity to play the slot, whether we like it or not, whether, people, that's going to be the thing. And apparently Hafley thinks he can. to me, the question is, do they believe Stokes? And I know there's health concerns. Can he stay healthy? But I think if Hafley has questions on that, then you go corner. Because I am sick and tired of this whole, coaches putting players in positions to not succeed. We, listening to Doug Peterson talk about Darnell Savage and say we really like him as a nickel and, blitzing, which is he never did any of that in Green Bay.
None.
And Savage talked about how he wanted to play nickel. And I don't understand why coaches continue to do this. If it's an ego thing, get over it, especially when you're on your third run as a defensive coordinator. Get over it, Joe Barry. Put players in a position to freaking succeed.
Yeah, you know what, Savage, everything that got him drafted, they never used him for any of that. It baffled me. But anyway, I digress.
So that's why, okay, if Hafley believes Stokes can't play, don't force him on him. Sorry to say, I know he's a first-round pick or former first-round pick, but go get another corner then that Hafley believes would best work in his system.
Right.
So that's the question to me. If Hafley thinks Stokes can excel, Carrington can play well, then I don't think corner should be a first-round pick.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how they go with that route, because I think corner is a position that they're going to have to address at some point in the draft anyway, whether it's the first round or not. If it is a first round, I like Nate Wiggins from Clemson. He's 6'2", he's pretty slender, so he's not going to be super physical, but he can cover those big-bodied guys on the outside, which would be kind of good. But yeah, I mean, that'll be interesting to see how they handle the cornerback position, because I do think they need to address it. They don't have a lot of depth there.
Yeah, and that's where I don't know if it's like a day 2, day 3, early day 3, sort of thing. I think you do have to protect yourself in case Stokes can't stay healthy.
Right.
And let's face it, Jair's had issues the last couple of years staying healthy too.
He has.
Yeah.
And we might not find another Valentine in the 7th round, but we might find something in the 3rd or 4th.
Right.
Yep.
So. Safety too. I mean, I think a lot of people are in love with Cooper from Iowa, the versatile safety over there. Some drafts have him where Green Bay can pick him. Some have him where he's gone, before Green Bay. But I agree with what Goody said too, that, you can't go into a draft just thinking you're going to get that guy. You don't know what other teams are going to do. You may have an idea, but now we're officially in smokescreen season.
Right.
So you can't go into that draft just thinking okay, we're going to come away with this guy, because I don't want him reaching for a guy either.
No.
I don't want him doing that. I don't want him thinking we need a safety, so we're going to go get a safety, which I'm not trying to pick on Ted, but I feel like Ted Thompson did it a couple times. Like a Nick Perry. Oh, shit, we need an outside linebacker, so let's get a 4-3 defensive end and try to convert him. I don't know if that was thinking, but it seemed like that was a thinking at that time.
Yeah.
That sort of. I don't want to see this team do that.
Right.
I don't want to see that.
What do you think the odds are of the Packers moving, up or back? If they were going to move, would it be up or back?
I think it's up.
You think?
I think they got the capital to move up. They got the third most picks, I think, of any team in a draft, tied for the third most. So we already talked about, some of their depth there. If there's a guy that they view as a starter, maybe is it a Cooper, is it somebody else? Package some picks and go get them. Because right now, the window's now. Goody, I don't think he meant it, but I think he inadvertently kind of let it go that window's now. When you go out there and say your prize free agent, Xavier McKinney, and you go out there and say his best football is his next 3 years,
yep,
that's your window then.
Exactly.
Your window is these next 3 years. So I don't care about accumulating more picks for the future. If there's a dude that can play right away and can be an impact player for you, you go out there and you get that guy then, because you just put that window out there.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the window is starting now. Before last season, everybody was so down on the Packers. And I will state, all year, I had it out. I thought the Packers would win 9 games. And I thought Love would take them to the playoffs. Didn't look like it halfway through the year.
Did you falter that, though? Did you kind of waver a little bit in October?
I was wavering. I was looks like I'm an idiot, but I left it up on my Twitter, right up on my pinned post. And I think the way last season ended, the way they came together, the way the team really started to gel, and all those young players developed, expectations are right back where they were 2 years ago.
Isn't that crazy?
It's insane. 2 years ago, thinking we were going to lose Rodgers and the world was ending, and here we are 2 years later, and we're thinking,
the window's fucking back open.
Yeah. Go win this thing.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, let's hope to get to the playoffs. It's like we expect the playoffs, and God damn it, I want to be in the Super Bowl.
Right, right. And that's like, I'm trying to put it in perspective and look at a lot of these other fan bases and, everybody thinking, oh, finally Green Bay's going to come down. And I know we're putting a lot on Jordan Love, and I don't know if he's going to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer or anything like that, but I mean, shit, you look at year one, it's like, we freaking do it again,
Yep.
And the thing is now is like, I want Jordan to do something different than what he did, what Brett Favre and Rodgers did. Win 2 Super Bowls.
Right.
Not just win 1.
Yep.
Go out there and win a couple now. Because then you separate yourself from, that's how you, don't worry about statistics or anything like that. You want to separate yourself from those guys, go win some multiple Super Bowls. Then you're in a completely different conversation where you're with Bart Starr.
And, what's crazy to think is a month from now, the average age of this team could be younger than last year.
I know.
So
that's insane.
The team is built to win, and it's built to win for a while, starting now. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited. I can't wait to see how this draft plays out.
What do you think is the one position besides quarterback, and let's say besides wide receiver, that you don't think they need to address first? Let's say first 4 rounds.
I think the defensive line is set.
Mm-hmm. And I've been seeing some people say edge rusher and all that, and I'm like, no, I get Preston's up there, but you still got Garrett, and you still got Lucas Van Ness. Enoch Barre's probably going to miss the first half, but I think they like him.
Yep.
I think they got depth there.
I think they got depth. I think they can address it later in the draft if they have to, but I'm more concerned with what they're going to do with the linebacking group. You got Walker and McDuffie, right? That's their 2 main.
And Eric Wilson is a special teams guy, but,
Yeah, so right now with those 2 being the horses, I think they need depth at linebacker, and I think they need a guy who can get sideline to sideline and really play that 4-3.
I think I'm excited to see Quay in this new defense.
Yeah, me too. Let him eat.
Yeah, and I know we've been focusing a lot on the Sam linebacker, that strong side linebacker. But we got to remember McDuffie's entering his final year, and we're putting a lot on just assuming McDuffie can play that middle linebacker too.
Right.
And I think we're kind of, and I'm guilty of this too, but I think a lot of people are kind of just overlooking that, like, you might want to look at another middle linebacker, just in case, just to protect yourself too, or a guy who can play middle or start off on the right side too.
Right.
But you're right, after Quay, there's not depth there after this year. There's nobody. And I'd rather have that depth now so you're prepared for the future, so we're not going into a draft or whatever saying, shit, we need another linebacker.
Absolutely. It's really nice, though, for once? You think about the last decade and a half, we've always needed defensive players, we've always needed wide receivers, and we're never happy with what we get. I think we're finally set for the first time at wide receiver.
Yeah.
If they don't draft a wide receiver, it will not surprise me a bit.
That's like, I'm sorry, not to pick on people, but, okay, if somehow Marvin Harrison Jr. fell, absolutely would I love Marvin Harrison Jr., but I don't want to trade picks to move up to get him.
No, we don't
want to trade, to move up to get him. I don't think we need that. I want to see these guys grow with Jordan Love, and that's the thing that, and I hope it continues this way. Last year, they seemed like a very unselfish group.
Yep.
It was like, one day, Bo Melton's going to be your guy. I think I was in your truck on the way back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Bo fucking Melton?
Who's this guy?
Who is and he had over 100 yards or whatever.
First wide receiver with 100 yards this year.
Yeah. Jaden Reed, I think, is going to be good.
Yep.
Dontavian Wicks. Romeo Dobbs, I think, is going to be a great, possession type wide receiver.
Sounds like Christian Watson's really working on his hammy problem.
Yep.
So.
And you hope that continues to get better. So I'm that and tight ends, I'm perfectly set with right now.
Our tight ends, that's going to be fun to watch those two, because they didn't play on the field much together last year.
No.
Yeah, so you get, Tucker going one way and
Musgrave.
There we go.
Yep.
Luke going the other way. Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. It could be, and I hate using this comparison, but you look back at the Gronk Hernandez days with New England, that's kind of what I'm envisioning and hoping for.
Right. So, I think that's what a lot of people kind of, look at when you got a double tight end set. Those are the two that come to mind, and they may only get 700 yards this season, but if both get 700 yards from your your tight end group, I mean, shit.
That's phenomenal.
I'll take that any day of the week. So,
sorry, I'm losing concentration. It's hopping at the elbow room at noon. Not even noon.
It's not even noon yet, man.
Good gravy.
But is there? I don't know how much you look at draft stuff and all that, but is
not
there
as much as you? I can guarantee you that.
Is there a certain player, or are there a couple players that have? You mentioned a couple already.
Yep.
But is there any maybe like skill position players that you're like, you know what, it's maybe not a big need, but shit, if they suited up in green and gold.
Outside of Harrison, no.
Yeah.
I've really, like, looking at the players that I've kind of looked at, they've all been defensive guys, and the one guy I like is Jarrett Colson from Michigan, linebacker. I really like him. I think he could be a guy you talk about that could play in the middle. I think he could do it. Big, hard-hitting guy, moves sideline to sideline really well, so I think he'd be a player that I'd love to see him draft. But yeah, I haven't even entertained skill position players outside of Harrison because I don't think we need them.
I don't either. And I'm looking, I think if I were to mock a player or position now, I'd probably go offensive line. Honestly, I'm kind of thinking, do they go offensive line their first 2 picks? Do they double it up?
They might. They don't have depth anymore, and they've always had depth at offensive line.
Tackle, guard, center. Mm-hmm. You know, because Myers is going to be a free agent after this year, and I think he's at best underwhelmed.
Right.
You know, for a lot of people. You know, just saying Tanner's going to be a early day 3 pick from Wisconsin, and he lit it up at the combine, and he seems like to be a typical, Packer offensive lineman. So I wouldn't be surprised, they go back-to-back or go 3 linemen early on. And I feel like Packers fans, some of them will get pissed. They'll get upset. They'll get annoyed.
You win with the big uglies.
For as much as this game has changed over the years, isn't it still one in the trenches? Defensive line?
Absolutely.
Offensive line?
Every time.
I mean, that's where I feel like you look at a lot of these quarterbacks. Jordan Love doesn't start playing really well until that offensive line started to really gel. Brock Purdy, I think, plays really well because he's got a great left tackle. Those quarterbacks. To Patrick Mahomes, I know they had a couple issues on the right side there, but you provide that protection where you don't have to worry about, shit, I got to leave an extra blocker in here, or we got to have some quick passes to get the ball out or anything like that. When you do that stuff, it makes a world of difference. And if they go 3 linemen in the first 4 or 5 rounds, I won't be upset.
I won't be upset at all either. Look no further than the Jets and what happens if you don't have a good offensive line.
Bingo. Exactly.
So
that's the perfect example. Or look what happened when the Chiefs played the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And their 2 tackles got hurt, and they didn't have any depth.
Done.
Patrick Mahomes was running for his life every single play.
Yep.
So, and really the only 2, I think, solidified long-term guys they got on that line is Tom and Jenkins.
Yeah.
Because I think it's still out on Walker if he can be that everyday starting left tackle guy.
Right.
So, but I don't know. It'll be
interesting
they got
to watch.
Look for linemen that's the thing too. If they're going to use top picks, it's got to be guys that can play multiple spots on that line, right? I mean, it's got to be a guy who could play guard tackle. Not everybody can play center guard tackle, but somebody that you can put in different spots.
Yeah, Goot's definitely shown that he wants versatility, and I don't think that'll change.
Right.
So we're not going to get some super stud left tackle drafting at 25. It is 25, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm really excited to see what they do, though. I think, and you said it's not going to be sexy if they go with 2 or 3 offensive linemen right away, but I think, it would make a lot of Wisconsin fans happy is if they saw 2 or 3 linemen drafted, and then in the 4th or 5th round they got Braylon Allen.
And that's nothing against him because I think he can be a really good running back. It does not fit Green Bay anymore.
No,
it doesn't fit. I mean, you got your big bruising back in Jacobs, which I honestly think they're going to be more of a bell cow situation now, where they're not going to be doing the mixing and matching like they did with Jones and Dillon. I think you're going to see Jacobs out there 75% of the time, 80% of the time. And I think that's going to make this offense even a little bit more lethal because you got a guy who can, that's the basis of this offense, this Shanahan-style offense, is like lining up in same looks, but multiple different position or plays coming out of there. One look is like, okay, they're handing it off. You run the same look, they're actually passing it out. Now you have a running back in there that you can keep in there and not tip it off, whether you're bringing in a Jones or an A.J. Dillon. I'm excited about this offense next year.
I am too. And I absolutely love Jones. He's probably one of my favorite
players. Yep,
phenomenal guy. But you can't overpay a guy who's turning 30 years old that's injury prone. Jacobs 2 years ago was the best back in football.
Yeah.
And he had a down year last year, but the Raiders stunk. Outside of throwing it to Adams 150 times a year, they had no offense. So I think Jacobs still has a lot of his best football ahead of him. What is he, 26?
20, just turned 26, I think, yeah.
Yeah. So, he's had a lot of carries, but he's still young. Right. So I would rather take a 26-year-old Jacobs that's still got half a tank than Jones on his last legs.
Well, and the thing is like, I would rather take a Jones with that body type with that many carries than a smaller back with the same amount of carries.
Right.
I mean, it's science, isn't it?
Yep.
It's physics, whatever. I mean, he's a bigger guy. He could probably take a few more of those hits and last a little bit longer.
Yeah. I love Jacobs. Your son is a smart little cookie dude. Having him in his top two, he's not wrong.
Yeah, I know. And that's where I, just to kind of wrap it up, I guess, too, for the draft, running back then, because you've got Jacobs, then you got Dillon, two big guys. How big of a need is it to get a scat back that's similar to an Aaron Jones?
They'll probably look for one. They still have Wilson?
They still have Wilson.
Okay.
And he's a bigger back, though, too, but a little speedster, but, not like a Jacobs or Dillon or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? They might address that later in the draft, too. I mean, what round was Jones drafted in? He was third or fourth round? Was it fifth?
Because I think Jamal was fourth, and then Aaron Jones was fifth.
Yep.
And I thought they got another running back in the sixth. I could be wrong. Might be thinking when they went with the three straight receivers, Jamon, Equanimous, and MVS.
Equanimous St. Brown.
Remember Jamon Moore? Fourth rounder? Yep. He was supposed to be the one, and
that's just it, too. A lot of, you can find good running backs late. There's a lot of running backs that you can't tell me what round they were drafted in, and they turn out to be good players. So, San Francisco does it. We did it with Jones. I'm sure they'll find something. But, yeah, Jacobs is going to be their guy, and hopefully they get somebody behind him that they can bring along.
Yeah, I mean, Jones had bummed me up, but that was just such a weird day, that everything that happened that day.
It was a roller coaster, man, because when they signed Jacobs, I was like, my God, we have the best fucking running back tandem I've ever seen in my life in green and gold. And then an hour later, I was sick.
Yeah, and then they get Xavier, so it's like, you're like the confused happy, then you're depressed, and then you're ecstatic.
Yep.
And for anybody who says that they weren't surprised on the Xavier McKinney one, yeah, you were.
Yeah, you were.
Let's be real. I mean, was it a big need? Yes. Were you surprised that they got a safety? Probably not. But the fact that they went out there and got the number one available safety,
yeah,
come on.
They got off the pocketbook and they went and got someone that made them instantly better.
Yeah.
And they don't do that normally. So, and they couldn't with Rodgers, to be honest with you. I mean, they finally had some money to work with. And you go, Goot.
That's the thing is, like, and not to knock Rodgers too much, but I love that it's popping back up what he said a few years ago. Free agents don't come to Green Bay because it's a vacation destination. They come because it's me.
Yep. Interesting.
If I'm Jordan, I wish somebody would get like a Jordan Love shrug meme like Jordan. Just kind of like a shrug sort of thing. Because that's so... Sometimes I just wonder what is going through Rodgers' mind when he sees Green Bay making moves like signing McKinney, getting a guy like Jacobs, And the thing is, I don't think Aaron would have been patient last year. No. We've seen it with how he is with rookie receivers.
Yep.
Last year, to see Jordan Love just whatever's open. And I hope Jordan continues to do that. I get from a play caller standpoint, it's easier when you have a go-to guy. But when you have a quarterback and you have just a bunch of no go-to guys, to have that pressure off of a young quarterback to say, I don't have to throw it to this guy, I don't have to make sure this is my first read, Aaron wouldn't have had the patience to play in that offense last year, I don't think.
No. And there was a number of times that wide receivers made mistakes and Love went right back to him. Rodgers wouldn't. And everybody knew that. You screw up, Rodgers won't even look at you. And there was times in games where guys would be open after dropping the ball. Rodgers wouldn't even peek at him. So it was good to see. I think Rodgers learned a little bit what he didn't want to do from Favre, and I think Love may have learned a little bit what he shouldn't do from Rodgers. So, I love Love's mentality, man. He's just cool as the other side of the pillow.
Well, and the thing is, too, is like, I don't know what he's going to be like in 10, 15 years. But if you're a quarterback in Green Bay and you play well, you're a god. Let's be real. You're a god. You're treated like a god. I don't know if that's what went to the head of like a Rodgers or even a Favre, did it get a little too much? I hope that doesn't happen with Love, but I understand that we're all human though too, and if you have success and you're in a smaller town and you're treated like that, probably feels pretty good.
Yep. Oh, it's gotta.
We don't have the media market like in New York, and that's where a lot of people were saying with Rodgers, good luck with that media market. But in Green Bay, you're treated like a god regardless.
Yep. Oh, you are.
You're not going to get that. I mean, if you win a Super Bowl with the Jets, yeah, probably you're going to be a little bit. Mm-hmm. But you can't go to Target or whatever the hell's in Green Bay, the mall, and people are going to know who you are.
Absolutely.
And some people revel in that, then they get used to it, and I think it gets to their head a little bit.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like that's what happened with Rodgers, because his change from when he became a starter to where it was at the end, I think it was noticeable for a lot of people.
Oh, big time. And Rodgers always had, and I don't want to bash what he did for the Packers. I love the guy.
Yep.
But, you look back to his interviews when he was with Cal. He was cocky back then, and it just got worse over the years. I guarantee you he's not going to stop near a gas station and try and help push a girl out of a snowbank.
It's funny you say that, because that's why Veronica loves Jordan Love now. That is the reason. That is why she got a Jordan Love jersey.
Really?
And her response was, Rodgers would never do that.
Nope.
That is exactly what Veronica said.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's a character thing. It shows the kind of character he's got,
Well, and he said, too, after the draft, he got humbled. And I feel like he did get humbled. And I feel like he got humbled by riding the pine. But as soon as he started having success, that humbleness went away.
Yep.
I honestly feel that way.
Yep.
Because it sure seemed like, he wins a Super Bowl early. He's on The Office. He's doing these fun stuff. And he just seemed relatable. I remember going to Donald Driver's softball game and Rodgers was playing it. And he's walking out to Miley Cyrus doing a title belt. Like, it changed.
Yep.
It changed. And it stinks to see that. So, and again, I don't know what Love's going to be like. Hopefully it's not like that, but we'll see. That's where,
we will see.
And I think that's why I appreciate a guy like Aaron Jones too, because it seemed like that guy just never changed.
Right. Oh, he never did.
No.
Still saying, calling everybody sir. I know you interviewed him. He probably called you sir for it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was after his rookie year at the Super Bowl, and he's calling me sir. I'm like, I'm not a sir. But it was yes sir, no sir, every answer.
Yep.
And just the most, like, everything you hear about him is exactly right.
And I want to say to any of you out there bitching that he did the skull chant for the Vikings, get a fucking life. Jesus. Yeah. He's a Viking now. Okay, he's got to play to his new fan base.
Right.
And I hope he freaking lights it up every freaking week except when he plays us. Because that guy's phenomenal.
I wanted Aaron Jones to break all the rushing records in Green Bay.
Me too.
I wanted it because that was a guy, when you talk about carry the G, that's a guy I think of off the bat.
Yep.
Him, Driver, those type of guys. You're not going to have another guy who might have a little bit left in the tank and say, you know what, I'm going to retire because I don't want to play for a division rival like Donald did.
Yep.
A guy like Aaron Jones, who I think, my personal belief, Green Bay's not as good as they were last year if it wasn't for Jones's leadership. I know his play at the end, but the fact we all have that image when I think it was Wicks fumbled.
Yep, and he lifted his head up.
Yep.
Love it.
That leadership was, I think, a big when he was here in Eau Claire, the title town.
Yep.
It was Aaron was still on the team, but we knew something was happening. And Aaron Jones he did it perfectly. I want Aaron back. But if Jordan loves the guy, we got his back. And what does he do? He flies out to California then and runs routes with the guy. And it's just, that's the type of, and I'll never forget 2 years ago when it was mini camps and veterans are excused, Aaron practiced
right there.
with the freaking rookies. Aaron
Yep.
Jones did.
Yep.
And it's like, first of all, you're a running back. You already got your money. You shouldn't be out there, but you're still doing it. And Aaron Jones is one of my favorite players of all time because of that stuff. Not for the stats he put up, it's that stuff.
Right. Yeah, he was phenomenal. Phenomenal leader, phenomenal player, and I'm glad I got to watch him.
Yeah.
And to anybody out there listening that's in high school right now and you saw Roger's career and now you're going into watch and love, enjoy what you've got because it goes quick, don't it?
It does, because I just started I just started dating my now wife when Favre went to the Vikings.
Really?
And did I ever tell you the story of why I got married?
I want to hear this. It wasn't because you knocked her up. That came after.
It was 2010. So Veronica and I started dating in 09, right when I was getting done with college. I graduated
It's
in
about
09.
the time I met you.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And it actually was. Yeah. We really started to hang out bracket softball weekend, actually.
See?
So-
Hey. There we go. Just call me Cupid.
But I was working at the Y in Rapids, and it was that 2010 season and they were 2-2. I think they just lost to the Dolphins. You remember that, last second field goal? And it's one of those, when you date somebody for almost a year, then what do people ask you? Oh, when are you gonna get married?
Right.
And they were asking me that at the Y at work, and I said, yeah, when Green Bay went to Super Bowl. That year, it was Super Bowl 45.
That's beautiful.
It took another year, to pop the question. But I'm like, I can't piss off the football gods. I can't piss off Lombardi or anything. I better do this now. But yeah, it was 2-2, and I remember saying, yeah, whenever Green Bay wins the Super Bowl.
That's phenomenal.
And sure shit, they won it that year.
That's amazing. There you go, Veronica. Does she know why you asked her?
Oh, yeah, she knows that story.
Yeah,
Yep.
perfect.
She knows it. So a little upset, though, because it'll be our 12th anniversary. And she said 10.
That's good with math on your part.
I think it's 12.
From what year?
Nope, it's 11. It's 11. 13. So
You were married in 13.
Yep,
What
it's
month?
11. June.
Okay.
But I'm a little upset because she did say on our 10th she was going to let us do a rehash of vows at Lambeau, and that never happened.
That's some bullshit, Veronica. You just went down a couple pegs. She's got to make that up to you.
I know.
I think what she needs to do is, I think it needs to be at least front row of the end zone. You got to get in the lead
I
zone.
want a surprise birthday party at Lambeau. I've never had a surprise birthday party.
Oh, Dan, on your birthday, we're going to Lambeau. That would be a surprise birthday. Oh, we'll have to figure out a surprise something for El Capitano.
I just want to do something at Lambeau. That's all I want to do.
I love it. Well, hey, we were lucky enough. I was with you, and I got, because of you, the gentleman that worked for the Express, who now
Yep,
works.
Jake.
Jake, yes,
Yep.
yes. I couldn't remember his name. You'll have to give me his number. Maybe I can plan something special for you, Dan.
There you go. Yeah. I knew I could count on you.
Yeah, I'm here for you, buddy. If it gets me into Lambeau, I'm right there on your coattails.
Right? That's okay, if we ever did anything, if we ever redid our vows, new groomsmen, I'm like, C-Bomb's going to have to be on there now.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Just thinking through
I'll
that
be the
list.
ring bearer. I'll come up with extra rings.
You could be that ring bearer that passes out little bottles of booze, those fancy videos, wear a fanny pack and all that.
I'll do it. A man purse.
A man purse.
Yes.
It's a satchel.
A satchel. I don't want to. I can't be inappropriate. What I normally call it is not appropriate for even a podcast, so I won't call it that.
Don't do that.
Because I got to be PC. But yeah, a satchel.
Satchel. So
You can call me Fat Jesus. I'll grow a beard. I won't look like Alan from The Hangover, but I can try.
could look like Jason Kelsey then.
Yeah,
Get the
I
thick
could.
eyebrows and
You know what? What blows my mind is he comes out for the playoff games, no shirt, screaming and hollering, and the whole world loves him. I do that, and everybody's telling me it's time to go home. What the fuck is up with that? I mean, that man knows how to have some fun.
he does. I'm also. It's a good thing he is retiring because he was wearing other teams' gear, which I appreciate from his wife, though. No, you heard that right? She's a diehard Eagles fan. She will not wear any other teams. She'll wear the name Kelsey, but she will not wear any other, like how Jason wore Chief stuff for Travis. Yep. She won't do it.
Really?
I'm like, I appreciate that because I
good
couldn't
work
do that
out of her.
either. Yeah. Yep. I appreciate that.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I had a brother that played for another team, I could probably stomach wearing that. But if they were playing my team, I probably wouldn't.
You know,
I'd say if it was Mike or Kelly, my brother, and they were playing on the out, I'd say do good, but you're getting your ass kicked by the Green Bay Packers.
yeah. Yep.
That's how I'd be.
Yep. I got to, because Hudson's dead set, he's just assumes he's getting drafted in the NFL.
Perfect. What round?
Haven't gotten there yet. If I'd ask, he'd probably
What
take
position?
first round. Well, I remember I asked you this.
Teach him how to kick.
That's what he's like. Should I be wide receiver,
Kicker,
running back, or a punter?
punter. Right there.
And I don't know what we were talking about, but he's like, oh, I think it was after the Aaron Jones thing. And I'm like, sometimes, our favorite players just play on different teams that we don't like, and that we can still be fans of the player.
Yep.
And honestly, I was trying to set him up for A.J. Dillon. I'm like, hey, A.J., you'd still like him if he was on another team, that sort of stuff. And he's like, Dad, if the Lions decided they drafted me, I would play extra hard for them because they never won a Super Bowl.
Oh, that a boy.
Like, where is this coming from?
Yeah, Hudson's got a heart. It's got to be from Veronica.
Yeah, because he was like, I'm going for the Lions because they haven't won. I'm like, screw it. I can't do it. Can't do it. I'm sorry. Just can't. So, all right, C-Bomb. We're going to get the owner on here for a quick. He's a 49ers fan.
Ooh, beautiful.
So, get his
let's
thoughts
get him
on the
on there,
draft
brother.
here. So, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back quickly. All right, we are back with our first Draft with the Draft mobile podcast here at the Elbow Room. Man cave lights are cool.
A lot of drafts here at the Elbow Room.
Yeah,
Love
a lot of drafts. I like it. We got Garrett, who has been on the pod before.
I have.
Diehard 49ers fan, too. So tell C-Bomb why you were a 49ers fan, too. This is awesome.
Wait, first, is it even legal to be a 49ers fan and wear a Brewers shirt?
He's a Wisconsin fan
I
with
am a
everywhere
Wisconsin
else.
fan.
Okay.
But this is a legit reason why he's a 49ers fan.
let's hear it.
When I was growing up, obviously the 49ers were on TV all the time. But I was a numbers kid. I always loved numbers. And they were the only team in the NFL that was a number instead of a true mascot.
Oh.
And my favorite color was red. So you pair that together. My parents said, 49ers, red, you were set, it didn't matter. Plus,
Yep.
they were on TV all the time.
Yep.
Okay, that makes a little sense.
He's got a Joe Montana autograph.
Are you a
hat up there.
76ers fan?
No, I am a Wisconsin fan, everything except for football.
Okay.
Yep.
I do love the Packers. They are my number 2 team. Owning a bar in Wisconsin, kind of have to. I do have a lot of Packer swag up here, as you can see.
I love it. You got the Woodson autographed jersey, B.J. Raji. Nobody has a better Fat Man dance.
Got Devontae back there, even though he's not with him anymore.
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
Yep.
no, this place is awesome.
No, the hat he's talking about is actually up there. I got that sign when he was playing with the Chiefs.
In River Falls.
Correct.
Yes.
Chiefs League.
That's where I went to high school.
Oh, cool. I got to meet him. So
Yes.
that was pretty cool.
My brother got to play catch with him.
Are you kidding?
No.
Which one, Mike or
Kelly.
Kelly did?
Got to be a ball boy and play catch with him.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's your youngest brother, right,
Yeah.
Kelly?
He was a young kid at the time.
Yeah.
Couldn't get me near the field, though. I couldn't play catch with him. God dang it.
Well, he was younger, so
Yeah.
it's for the kids. C-Bomb.
Yeah.
Always for the kids.
Always for the
Yep,
kids.
he was like 10 at the time.
Which I've heard your kid is interested in Ronnie Lott.
Yeah, I didn't
that's
tell
story.
you this story. I texted him right
Correct.
away.
Really?
Yeah. So he read it in a book at school, but he came home one day. He's like, "Dad, did a guy in football cut his finger off and play a game?" And I said, "Yeah, it was Ronnie Lott for the 49ers." And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "That's my favorite 49er."
That is phenomenal.
So we went to a card show, and he found a Ronnie Lott card. He's like, "Dad, can I get this?" And it was like $1. I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I texted Garrett. I'm like, because he's 49. I'm like, Hudson's got a favorite 49er. It's Ronnie Lott because he cut his finger off just to play a football game.
That's amazing.
So-
I should go in my attic. I have a box of cards, obviously, and I've got a ton of Ronnie Lotts.
Really?
I should get one out.
Yeah.
I got the rookie card. I've got the signed cards.
Oh, my goodness.
Absolutely. I remember that game when he got it caught in the helmet.
Yeah?
Yep, absolutely. Went in the halftime. I was like, I got to get this cut off. They said
amazing.
if he wouldn't have cut off, and it was just the last pinky tip.
Yep.
But they said if he wouldn't have got it cut off, he could have possibly missed the start of the next season.
Yep.
Which is why he decided to take it off.
I don't think anybody else would do that in this day and age.
Oh, the state? No,
Probably not,
They won't
no.
play with a hangnail these days.
Would you do it?
I'm probably dumb enough to do it.
Would you do it?
I think I would.
I wouldn't.
I'll admit I love football enough, and if that was my dream and that was my passion, I wouldn't want to miss half of the next year.
Yeah.
And it's only half an inch.
I think if I was like roster bubble type player, I probably would have. If I was solidified, I'd be like, nah, I can wait. And that's just me talking, so I'd probably be like, no, either way.
And none of us are going to be there anytime soon.
No.
So, I mean, we are a month away from the draft, man. A lot of stuff's going on, but for your 49ers team, how do you assess their offseason so far? Kind of quiet.
It's quiet,
right? Yeah.
Very quiet. Linebackers, couple signed. I really think Williams is getting close to being done. So I would really love for them to get a good offensive lineman to replace him. Like, as you know, he can start, teach.
Yep.
Other than that, they don't need much. They're picking late as well. First time they've had a first-round draft pick because they had to get rid of so many for McCaffrey.
Right.
And everything they've done. But everybody we pretty much have under contract. We got rid of Armstead. I loved him, great player, but we have depth at the line, so I don't think we need much there. My one question, and I hate saying it, especially online, I don't know what they're going to do with Ayuk. I don't want to see him go. I love him as a player. I just know that he's last year on his contract, and I don't think they can afford him.
Yeah.
With everybody else they have there, they've offered so much money to everybody else. There's only so much to go around.
Yep.
So I'm concerned about that.
Yeah. You do have a former Packer on there now, Devondre Campbell.
Oh, that's correct, yeah.
With, because Greenlaw? Is it Greenlaw that's going to miss the season?
Greenlaw's going to miss it, because in the Super Bowl, he danced on the sidelines to come in and tore his ACL.
Isn't that just crazy how like weird shit like that can happen?
He did nothing.
Yeah.
He just jumped onto the field and it twisted wrong.
Yeah.
So I meant the non-contact injury, and it's just, he's gone.
Yep.
So we got him for replacement. I heard, and you never know, he could come back later part of the season, which is great. But got to have depth, obviously.
Right.
So,
exactly.
And Warner's there. I mean, he's just a beast.
Best inside linebacker in the league,
I
right?
love him.
He's amazing.
Watch him play.
I love him.
I wouldn't mind if he was in green and gold.
That ain't going to happen.
So the 49ers have a luxury most teams don't have. So you, on top of Christian McCaffrey, you have what you talked about, Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. I mean, they're George Kittle. They are freaking loaded at the skill positions. But if you look at Samuel and Ayuk, if you had to pay one of them and keep one of them, who would it be?
Honestly, I would lean towards Ayuk. In my opinion, Deebo Samuel is a great receiver, but he is a double threat. You already have McCaffrey. You already have Kittle. You have an unwritten hero in Juszczyk, which nobody really looks at. I mean, he can run it and he catches it. Absolutely. So you got him running. Deebo gets hurt a lot. I mean, even the playoffs, he would take 8-6 plays off. His hamstring is tweaked, and then he'd come back.
Well, in that Green Bay game, he got hurt, right? Yeah.
And he was out for half of it. I mean, I'd rather Ayuk's always there. He's making over the middle catches. He was awesome. I really love him.
Yeah, he's great.
I don't want to get rid of either one, but if they had to, I think I'd rather get Ayuk on a long-term deal.
Do you think how long do you think your window is now? And the reason I ask this is the Brock Purdy situation.
Yep. No, it's a great question. I think only 2 years.
Yeah.
I really say 2, and the reason I say that is because you got Purdy locked down for next year no matter what. The year after that, you're going to have to restructure because at that point, let's just say they make the playoffs. That's 3 years in a row with a rookie quarterback who's making less than $1 million a year. You got to pay him.
Right.
There's no question. You got, or you go somewhere else. But in my opinion, the kid's earned it. You pay him. At that point, you're talking Bosa's salary's coming up.
Yep.
Warner's coming up. Kittle's going to be coming up. Ayuk's is already up. At that point, Deebo's coming up. Williams is going to retire. McCaffrey will be due 2 years.
What do you think about, like you mentioned McCaffrey with the running back thing too, with the age? That guy's got a lot of wear and tear on him.
He does.
But the guy leads the league in rushing last year too.
The funny part was, I don't think he had a full year of rushing without being injured until he came to the Niners.
Yeah.
I believe every year he played with Carolina, he missed time. So
Because that's why everybody thinks he's injury prone.
Right.
You know.
But last year never missed anything.
Yep.
Was in there all the time. Even if he had an ankle tweak, tape it, put him back in. We do have Mitchell behind him. I like that kid. But McCaffrey's logging so many carries. At what point, these running backs nowadays, they're only playing for 10 years.
Yep.
He's already coming up on it. I mean, you guys are seeing it in Green Bay. I love Jones.
They were in the same draft class too, same year.
Yes, they were. So if he's already old, if you want to call it old, I guess in football.
Right, yeah.
So you guys get younger, and I love the addition of Jacobs. Like I said, I am a Packer fan. I think you guys got better with Jacobs. I'm not saying anything
You did
against
text me that,
Jones.
yep.
I just think he's a better fit. He's younger. He's a 4-down back instead of a 3-down back. He can play those tough yards. I believe it was, don't quote me, but I think it was 2022 where Jacobs had 1,000 yards on only first downs alone.
Yep.
That's insane.
I used
yeah.
that nugget too. Yeah.
Did you? I didn't hear it. Sorry about that.
Yep.
But yeah, that was unreal when I heard that stat.
Can you think about that? Like what that does for your offense when you have
Correct.
1,000 yards only on first down?
That means someone
insane.
has to spy him,
Yeah.
no matter what. And if it's, we'll just say Niners versus Packers, you're going to take Warner and have him spy because that's taking out your whole middle of the field.
Yep.
So if Jacob stays back, Warner stays back, you just opened up the middle.
Not to bring it up, but it's the first time I actually got to talk to you really about after Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good. I mean, I let Hudson stay up for the whole game too.
Wow.
For that, I'm like, dude, he's into it. I'm like, I got to be that dad that lets him stay up. He might be tired in the morning, but that game, I don't really want to. But Kyle Shanahan, I know there's some people that are questioning him. Hindsight's always 20/20 in my opinion. What are your thoughts on your head coach and Kyle Shanahan?
I will say I think he's one of the best head coaches in the league right now. Not all time, but right now. I did question the call.
Yeah.
I questioned the end, especially when it wasn't clear if all the players on the Niners organization knew the rules. That made me more mad than anything else.
Yep.
Losing was one thing. I can take a loss. I can't take a loss when it could have been diverted to a win.
Right.
And to accept that, I was like, do they not know the new rules? Because why not let the opposing team take it and then you know what you have to do
Right.
instead of set it. Now, if he felt in his heart that was his judgment call and he's the coach, then you know what? Go with it. I believe him. I don't know the whole, you don't know who's telling the truth on if they knew the rules or not.
Right. And that's where I didn't know if he's like thinking, okay, I don't want Patrick Mahomes to get the ball first and get the touchdown. That's what I kind of thought his thinking was.
I believe that in the Niners, but they have a good defense.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So did Kansas City, so I can't take that away.
Yeah. But you're, and then you hear the Chiefs players say, "Yeah, we prepared for that, week one and all that." And I'm like, "Ooh, optics doesn't look great, but
No.
it's
That's what hurt.
Situational football.
Yep.
Correct.
And your team has to know it, and that comes from the coach.
Yep.
Okay, so not to spin it a different direction, but knowing the rules. Let's talk about the new kickoff.
Yeah.
So that's a new rule change. And I was listening to your show, and then I'm listening to Dan Patrick this morning on my way to work, and they're trying to explain the rules. They're not really cut and clear.
No.
I mean, the average football player is going to look at it and go, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
Because they're basically inheriting, it's not college, the USF rule, whatever that is?
XFL.
XFL, okay,
Yep.
sorry.
Yep.
But yeah, so you line up basically middle of the field,
Yep.
and nobody can move until the
guy
receiver
catches the
touches the ball or it hits the ground.
Yep.
Until then, you cannot move.
Yep.
And now I've heard with this new tackling rule, there's no tackling from
No hip
behind,
drop, yep.
no hip dropping. So they're now installing a new camera above the field, so the refs don't have to make the call.
Yeah. So it's going to be more fine-based instead of penalty-based.
Yeah, so basically if it happens, you continue the game, but we'll just call it eye in the sky,
Yep.
makes a phone call, and then the player gets fined $50,000 for doing it.
Yep.
So it's like speeding on the interstate, they catch your camera, you get a ticket
You
in
get
the
a
mail.
letter in the mail. Yep. Exactly. That's what it is.
I think it'll be great for football. I missed the return.
Yeah.
I grew up with the return. I love it. Some people actually Howard based his career basically on returns.
Desmond Howard. Yep.
So it's going to bring some of that back. I love it, but I don't like that there's no more surprise on the onside kick.
That's the thing that I don't like.
Yep.
Look at the Pat McAfee when he recovered his own onside kick.
Or even the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
New Orleans.
Yep.
I remember that one where it was an onside first, right off the bat.
First half, or second half, first
Yep.
play.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's gone.
I mean, now you got to declare. It's like, what's the point of even doing one if you got to declare?
Yep.
They said there was a rule change. However, you can now have 6 people dedicated on one side of the ball.
Okay.
So if you're going to do an onside kick, at least you are dedicating more people to that side of the ball. But so can the defense.
Right.
So I'm not sure where that helps.
Yeah. Now, my question is, I don't know, so if you declare it, do you still have to run it?
Yeah, what if you just said, fuck it, I'm going deep?
Yeah.
Never thought about what if in the middle of it you don't like the defense how they're lined up
Right.
and you want to stop.
Because how many times have we seen teams where they line up where it looks like they're going onside but then they kick it deep.
Right.
Can you still do that? Now I don't know what the benefit of that would be. You got one returner still back there, but still.
I don't think you could because everybody's going on the scrum of the ball.
Right.
As before, once you kick it deep, you have to not move until he touches it.
Right.
So is this
Yeah, good point.
Can't do that.
Can't do that.
is this the biggest change since they moved the goalpost from the goal line to behind the end zone?
I think it's one of the
I mean, this is a huge
that or
change.
the two-point conversion. Yep.
Yeah, which is now normal. You don't even think about it.
No.
But there was a time where if you're 2 points out, then the game's over. And now
Correct.
there's plenty of opportunity to make the game more exciting.
Well, and now you got coaches like Dan Campbell that believe in everything. Fourth down, go. 2 point, go. So, that was a huge change too, but this is drastic. I think it'll make it more exciting. I love the effect of returns. I just don't like that tweak of the onside.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. Like, it's going to be hard to follow initially because there's like 4 scenarios on a kick return that you can get. Wherever the guy returns it, that's where you start. You can get to 20, you can get to 35, you can get to 40. And it's like, how the hell am I going to keep track of that?
And Dan's not good with math.
I'm not. I suck at math. He can. He's good with numbers.
You're numbers. That's why you're a Niners fan.
But your kid too, he's growing up now in an era where he's got to tweak his whole learning of this.
Well, I'm excited now.
And you're going to get the question.
Shit, I know. And that's the thing is like, he wants the new Madden game. And I'll tell you why. This is why. He's like begging me to get this one, or 24. I'm like, let's just wait till 25. A couple months away. You want to know the reason why?
Who's on the cover?
No. Because McCaffrey's on the Niners. That's the reason why he wants
Because he can run. Because he can have him.
So he's like, well, McCaffrey's on, because we have the one, I bought one when Madden died.
Okay.
I'm like, man, I got to get with him on the cover.
Yep.
And then he started playing it. He's like, well, Dad, McCaffrey's not on the Niners. I'm like, oh, I can't do anything about it. I'm sorry. He's like, well, can we go get 24? And I'm like, but we're a few months away from 25. But McCaffrey's on the Niners.
That's
Good
great.
kid.
Right?
I got to meet this kid.
No, and I'm like, you can wait. And now I'm going to tell him this. I'm like, we're waiting for 25 now because there's a new kickoff rule. This is
there
how
you
you're
go.
going to learn it.
Yeah,
So,
good idea.
but yeah, he's going to be. He's been on spring break. I haven't seen him in a couple days until when we're done with this.
Okay.
That's going to be fun explaining that to him. So
Speaking of that, I'm going to have to cut out on this podcast here. This thing's taking off. This is great.
yeah, well,
But I got a spring breaker I got to get home to.
exactly.
One of my spring breakers is home too.
So-
But high school.
Oh, nice. They can take care of themselves.
Yes,
Well,
they can.
You-
and
well,
She should have been shoveling yesterday, but she's sleeping.
it's snowing
that's
right now,
perfect.
so
She's
she's got
probably
some time.
still sleeping.
Well, dude, this was a lot of fun. We appreciate it, Garrett.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for all your support,
Oh,
man.
thank you
and
guys for coming down. I can't wait.
Absolutely.
Excited for your golf outing too, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, we got the
I'm
Elbow Room as a
stoked.
sponsor.
I
for
might
that,
go
too.
twice.
Twice.
Nice.
You're going to be with
Maybe
the Honorable.
thrice.
The Honorable signed up twice.
That a boy, the honorable. Hey, we're both men of the cloth.
That is true. He is a priest, pastor.
Are you ordained?
Internet.
I'm ordained.
So's my uncle. He married us.
$49.95. UniversalLifeChurch.com.
That's cheap.
Boys, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No, thank
This
you for
is awesome.
coming
Thanks for having me, Dan.